All right, what's going on, everybody? Appreciate everybody coming back again. Hope everybody's having a great day today. Can't believe we're already in April already. This year's really going by pretty fast, like it always does. But I just wanted to come back up here today with you guys to say thank you. Thank you for all the messages, people. Whether you've messaged me online or if you have my phone number, you called me the last couple of days or texted me. I just want to say thank you for all the support, and the outreach, and the generous words, and it's really meant a lot. To be honest, it's been kind of a very emotional last couple of days. I was, guys, that wasn't even planned to do that video Saturday. It was something I had thought about doing for a while. I knew it was something like I said on the video Saturday, that I've been planning this for a long time, and it's something I've wanted to do, and I thought it'd be a good step for me with my journey of anxiety and panic, but also it'd be good to share my message, let people know that, hey, there's somebody out there that's going through it just like everybody else, and you're not the only one. And I've learned a lot the last 7 years through all this, and a lot of knowledge, and now I'm able to share that knowledge. All I'm doing is just translate the message that was told to me. And so it's been really just a whirlwind the last couple days. I dropped that video Saturday night. Sunday morning, I woke up with just all the love and support. And just Saturday night, just people calling me. And, I went in the car and I went and drove around back to my parts where I grew up, growing up in my hometown, and just kind of reflected, where I came from, and just a very thankful moment between me and God. And I just could really feel that the message really resonated with a lot of people. I talked to a lot of people that reached out and said, hey, I deal with health anxiety as well, or I'm going through it right now, and your message really helped me, and really gave me a different opinion on just where I am, where these people are or personally in their own mental life, or with their own battles of anxiety and panic disorder, and and the fact that me coming up here and putting myself out there helped a lot of people, just makes it it's all worth it. And hang on, I was extremely nervous coming up here when I did that first video, and I was really nervous. It wasn't even planned, and it was something like I said, it was something I've wanted to do for a long time, but I just didn't know when to do it. I was holding it off, and it's kind of funny. This past week, leading up to Saturday, was probably one of the roughest weeks of my life. Well, one of the roughest weeks in the last 7 years. My anxiety really got tested this week, and this past week, and something led me Friday and Saturday morning, something was really just agonizing inside of me. Like, something was really pushing me, like, you need to go do this, you need to go do this, you need to go do this. And I went out that morning, was driving around, and I went to a certain part where I was in town where I was driving, and I pulled up on a homeless person, and this homeless person was sitting outside on the side of the highway, and just sitting there asking for money. And this is a part of town where there's been a lot more homeless people recently. It's pretty sad. There's a lot of trash on the side of the road, just tents, and just just a horrible scene, and just really sad that people have to live like that. And I remember sitting there looking at this person, and I just thought, that's when it clicked to me, and I was like, okay, if this person could sit on the side of the road and hold up a sign begging for money, because unfortunately, that's where they are in their life. That's all they can do every day. And it's like, okay, I can go home and get on a camera and tell my story, and hopefully do something impactful to help people and share my message, but also help me as well. And I just feel like the Lord led me to that mic Saturday, and It was really hard. And that's the whole time I was going on, talking as I was going through that video and just breaking down all the things. You got to remember, that's 7 years, guys, of just agony, just pain, and just holding it in for 7 years. I finally let it out publicly. And it's felt great ever since. And I'll be honest, it's kind of weird. It is a weird feeling when you put yourself out there like that. When people start telling you, like, you really impacted me, you really, it's kind of a weird feeling. It still is kind of surreal, just to make yourself vulnerable like that. But if you want to get somewhere in life, sometimes you have to be vulnerable. You have to do things, go out of your comfort zone, and do things you don't think you can do. Because when you do that, then you unlock another level of creativity in your mind. And when you start to unlock that creativity, now your world starts to open up. You really start to believe in yourself more. Your confidence grows. And then your confidence turns into certainty. You're just certain in your abilities. You trust yourself mentally, physically, emotionally, and obviously, most importantly, spiritually. And, Saturday was, like I said, it was one of the hardest moments I've ever had. And as I was talking Saturday, during the video, I was trying to catch my words. I'm judging myself. I'm like, oh my gosh, did I stutter? Did I repeat myself? It's all the what ifs, all the doubt. And look back at the video. I haven't watched the video. I probably won't watch the video. But I've heard bits and pieces of it from people that have been around the last couple of days or showed me a couple parts they liked. And, I did a lot better than I thought I would. But it's not even about me. It's not about how I do. It's the most important thing is that the message get out there. And I think the message really got out there for a lot of people. And I really appreciate that. People telling me that, again, I can't say thank you enough. I mean, it's just been surreal the last couple of days. And it wasn't even planned. It just happened. And sometimes that's how it goes in life. Things just happen one day. You wake up, and by the end of the day, before you know it, at least for me, I got a podcast video out. I got finally let the hardest video I was probably going to make out. And, now I feel a lot much better, a lot more comfortable. And it's been good reconnecting with a lot of people the last 48 hours. I was able to talk to some of my good friends I haven't talked to in a little while, like on the phone, and, guys who I love dearly, and family members, and friends of the family, and just it's been people that are really important in my life, but people who also were important in molding me and who I am. I wouldn't be here today without all you guys, and you guys really now help motivate me every day to get up here, do more of these videos, to help people, and really also help me keep myself accountable. Well, I don't say accountable, but more in check and in tune with sometimes the things I tell people that ask about anxiety or panic or whatever, the advice, sometimes we need to apply that to ourselves. Not just, sometimes the things we tell the people we need to apply to ourselves. And so I think that was a good reminder for me the last 48 hours to I can really make sure I sit and make sure I'm also applying these things in my own life, and, making sure I'm, going on the path that I want to be or I need to be on. But ultimately, it's really, guys, there's not really healing anxiety. There's no timetable for it. And to be honest, it never ends. And what I mean by that is, healing anxiety, when you start to change all these things in your life, you identify your past traumas, you reframe them, you start to reinvent yourself in a way. You start to eliminate things in your life that are negative for you, and they kind of just change your whole lifestyle, the way you live. Not saying everything else, but maybe sometimes you go back to your roots. That's something I've done the last couple of years. I've gone back to my roots in many different forms, ways, and I've started to really feel like when I was a kid again. And talking to my family members, I was raised by a tremendous family, and especially men. I was raised around real solid, hardworking Christian men. And my dad, my uncles, my grandparents, just men. And coaches. I had great coaches growing up. And, these guys really help form me into who I am today. By the way, I made sure I had water today. I did have really bad cotton mouth in that video on Saturday. My mouth was getting so dry when I was talking, guys. I didn't know if I was going to make it. I didn't know. I couldn't breathe at some points. My mouth was so dry. So I bet you I brought my water today. So to see me take a sip, that's why. Like I said, I'm all new to this, guys. All right, so I'm learning as I'm going. But anyways, back to what I was saying about, I was around great men, and I've reconnected a lot. Of, really become closer with like a couple of my uncles the last couple of years, and just. But it's also helped me get back to my roots and really who I really am. Not who this world wants me to be. I want to be who God wants me to be. And when I got to that point, that's when I really started to really feel like I was starting to see change. And it's just, I don't know how to describe it. It's just, you start to feel more content with who you are, and you love who you are, and you love who you're becoming. And yes, and I'm going through it right now. It gets scary at times because it's uncomfortable. You're kind of like, it's kind of like a rebirth almost when you start to heal and you start to put those things past you. Because anxiety is a habit. That's really what it is. It's just a habit. These are habits we do every day. Mentally, we wake up in the morning, the first thoughts we think. Like a health anxiety separate. As soon as I get up in the morning, what do? I do it all. I used to do it all the time, and I still am battling through it. Like I said, is you would check in with our body immediately. Okay, what am I feeling? What symptoms? Do I need to act upon this? What thoughts am I having? What do I need to do today? Oh my gosh, it's gonna be a long week. The whole thing, and it starts to be just a domino effect in our minds. And when you start to put those habits behind you, you start to replace those habits with new ones, who you want to be. And I think what's helped me is, I tell people all the time, who are people you look up to? It could be maybe your mom and dad, an authority figure, a relative, a friend, or for me, it was also guys like Laird Hamilton, who's a big wave surfer. And the reason why Laird Hamilton was a big impact on my life is because just the way he lives his life. He's very fearless. It's very dangerous what he does. He's had a lot of, if you go on YouTube and look at Laird Hamilton, this guy has had so many just near-death encounters. What he does is very dangerous. And, there was one story I heard. He was stranded at sea for a day on a jet ski, which is, like, insane. And but the guy's very strong and tuned with his body. He has the whole lifestyle is just phenomenal. His diet, the way he works out, the way he lives, and just the breathing, always focusing on his breathing, breath work, which is very key with anxiety, is your breath work, I think. Air is like food, which sometimes we're just not aware of it. We go through our days sometimes with, I'm just hyperventilating. We're not breathing. We're breathing very shallowly. And I think I said that right. You guys know what I mean. But anyways, and, a lot of times just being conscious of your breathing, just helps slow your day down. You know what I mean? Just keeping that in your mind throughout your day. And I heard that from Laird when he was on Joe Rogan's podcast. And I started to apply that, and I really started to feel the difference. I really started to feel more trust in my body. And that's very key with health anxiety, is feeling trust in your body. And, that's really what it is. When you have health anxiety, why do you worry about your health? You don't trust yourself. You don't trust your body. You don't trust your instincts. You don't trust how you respond to certain thoughts and feelings. There's just a lack of trust. And that could be from many different reasons. Maybe, like I said, one of the points that a lot of people resonated with in my video on Saturday was generational anxiety. And what I mean by generational anxiety is a lot of, like I said, what I say anxiety is a habit. And so what a lot of the habits you picked up from maybe your authority figures, growing up, people you looked up to, like for me, I grew up around a family that had really bad hypochondria and about our health. And so, I used to see, them get a symptom about some random, maybe it's nothing. And they're sitting there worrying like they're going to have some type of an ailment. And they're checking in, they're overthinking, they might go on Dr. Google, and, they might, before you know it, it's just they lead themselves into a panic attack. And now, every day, it becomes who they are. They're just a hypochondriac about their health. And, They worry about things they shouldn't worry about. And a lot of it for me, my people, my authority figures growing up, they had people they looked up to that had bad health. You guys got to remember back in the 50s, back in that era, people didn't take care of themselves like they do now. Like, people smoked like it was drinking water. It was a very more carefree world. I think a lot of that was actually more healthier in a way. I think there's some things back then it would be a lot better than now. Just people more carefree and just easygoing lifestyle. But they didn't really care about a lot of those things. Smoking, you could smoke at airplanes, you could smoke at restaurants, everybody just smoke, drink, and from especially my family history, that's how a lot of them had health problems, just from smoking and drinking, and just bad lifestyles. And that's really it. But a lot of those bad lifestyles trickled down to the people that, my parents, grandparents, aunts and uncles. They kind of picked up on a lot of that, and it affected them in some ways with their hypochondria. And now it took them to, a lot of them, most of them really, have started to identify that and realize that was all false, that it was all, there's a cause and effect for that. For usually, there's always a cause and effect for everything. And a lot of those problems that they saw with our family was just cause and effect. They just didn't it was just poor decision making. It's kind of common sense not to do put that kind of stuff in your body like that. It's not healthy. And it took them a long time to figure that out, but they habitually acted in that manner, like it applied to them, and it didn't. And that's what I kind of picked up on for a little bit. When I was younger, I thought this is how the normal way to respond to things. When you get a headache or you get, certain symptoms, any type of, it must be this, worst case scenario, oh my gosh, I'm going to die, I got this ailment, I know it, I'm not going to be able to do this. I mean, this is just the whole thing, and it just starts to just build and wear on you, and you act in line with it every day, and it's like who you are, but that's not who you are. You're not that person. You're not a hypochondriac. You're not a hypochondriac. You're not a worrywart. You're not a person that lives in fear, lives in a bubble, lives in shelter, afraid to go out of their comfort zone, and a lot of people look to the external to really, I think that's a problem we have. Everybody looks too externally to fix things, when a lot of times it starts right here, internally. If you don't work on what's going on in here, it doesn't matter what's going on out there. You have to start in here. And I think that's something that, I kind of see a lot of people, especially in this rat race society we live in. Our front line of help for anxiety and panic, I think, is not the best in a lot of ways. And that's not a criticism or anything. I think a lot of these doctors and medicine and these, counselors, all these services that are provided to us, I think are great. They help a lot of people. But I think it's also an industry as well. And, I think there could be we could do a lot better than what we do now when it comes to help. And showing people how to cure their anxiety and panic. That's not something you have to live with forever. And I feel like that's what a lot of people think. They just think this is how it ought to be the rest of my life. No, you don't. You don't have to be that the rest of your life. You can get out of that. And if anybody's ever told you otherwise, they're lying. That's not true. We weren't born to be. God didn't make us to worry. God didn't make us to fear. God didn't make us to live like that. God made us strong. Our bodies are machines. And again, guys, this applies to me too. All these things I'm saying are things I have to tell myself sometimes too. So don't think I'm not up here acting like I got it all figured out. I don't. I'm going through it every day. And I'm learning every day. But I'm also, I've from all I've learned, and I also started to realize now that it's all just complete garbage. And, it's just an illusion in my head I created. But now I have the choice to get out of that. And I also now have great support around me. And, hearing all you guys reach out to me Saturday really helped me with feeling more supportive. I mean, I have a lot of people I can lean on now. I don't have to hide that anymore. for 7 years I was hiding. I didn't want people to see me like that. I didn't want people to know me that I was worrying like that. I can't leave the house sometimes, and I don't want to be out in public having a panic attack. But in reality, man, everybody that I'm around, I mean, we all have our own struggles. We all go through, and to get better, we all have to help each other. You know, I don't. I think a lot of times social media gives people a false sense of reality, because I don't. Social media to me isn't really the real world. I mean, I think a lot of people, their whole day in life revolves around putting on a certain image for everybody. They feel like they have to be a certain image. I have to be this person. I have to act like this in public. I have to talk like this. No, you don't. Like, that's not a way to live. It's almost like you're in handcuffs. You're just, handcuffed down. Like you're not really being who you truly desire. And that's something I'm kind of glad. It's one of the things I'm glad about the last 7 years is that I feel like God really isolated me away from certain situations that would not have benefited me. And it's helped me stay more close to true to who I am. And I'm starting to really now, like I said earlier, going back to my roots. And, I think, being away for 7 years, being isolated, and sometimes has helped, in some ways, helped me stay true to who I am the best I can. And then now getting to a point where once I put this anxiety habit away behind me, now I really am becoming who I am, who God wants me to be, who He needs me to be. And I'm not being who the world wants me to be. I'm not worried about putting out an image on social media. I'm not worried about looking and acting a certain way in public. I am who I am. Either you like it or you don't. But I don't really care. It's not, being arrogant or anything or being a jerk. It's just kind of like, I don't care what people think about, I don't want to live like that. That's not a way to live. I want to be known for who I am. And, I'm really just a cool, chill guy. Likes to hang out, have fun, and just live life. Like, I'm not trying to be a certain person for anybody. The only person I'm trying to be is for the Lord, and make sure I represent Him every day. And do I do that all the time? No. I'm flawless, just like anybody else. I sin. I'm not always perfect. I have my moments, but I also have a spirit within me, though. I know when I think I have a good conscience within me through my spirit in Christ, and where, I know if I'm doing something maybe I should be doing, or maybe I need to turn away from this habit, or, maybe it's just, you guys know what I mean, something I shouldn't be doing, or maybe be aware. I have a good awareness, I think, because, and it's not hard, or it's not always easy, excuse me. It's hard, actually, to do that all the time. There's so much distraction and temptation in this world, temptations in different forms, and it's hard to easily get distracted and just go off the rails a little bit away from what you need to stay focused on. But because I gave my life to Christ, I always will have that conscience within me where, the Holy Spirit comes to me and talks to me and tells me, hey, you need to slow down now. You need to kind of recheck yourself. You need to get back on track. And, you need to pray to God, stay focused, to keep your eye to the sky, stay focused. And so that's something I've always been very, conscious of, and trying to, and not beat myself up. I think, I mentioned Saturday about the perfectionist mentality. I think sometimes that kind of made me put way too much pressure on myself, just way too much. And a lot of times it hurt me because I would, let's say in sports, growing up, I would try to go out there and play the perfect game. You're not going to play a perfect game ever. Nobody's ever played a perfect game. It's impossible. You know why? Because we're not perfect people. But I'd always try to go out there and play a great game. I was afraid of making mistakes because, oh my gosh, I made a mistake. My coach might scream at me. Mom and dad might yell at me after the game. Not that they ever did, but might be disappointed in me. It's all this internal chatter, and it's all the subconscious mind. That's really what it is. It's your conscious mind, your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind gives you all of those childish, inner child, a lot of those fears, all those thoughts, and those thoughts turn into feelings, and we act on those feelings sometimes irrationally, and that's where anxiety starts to become a habit. And for me, like I was saying, when I was growing up in sports, I played three-sport athlete. I played basketball, football, baseball, and some of those times where I had bad games, I would start to, a lot of it because I put too much pressure on myself, and there was also pressure put on me too. I mean, I played on pretty competitive teams growing up. Like, we had some of my teams I played on were very good teams. We played against older competition, and we had a lot of expectations on us, which I think is good and bad. I think it was good in a way because it helped us realize, set us up for the rest of our lives, how to be, how to win, but also how to achieve something, as not only as a team but as individuals. But I think it also, in some ways, I think it could be sometimes it could be a negative effect when you put too much pressure on your kid. When you're ultimately, you just want, at the end of the day, it should be about having fun. And sometimes the fun gets taken out of it, and you feel like it becomes like a job. And that's where things really start to go south sometimes for a lot of people, especially, and I've seen it all the time. Parents really just push their kids way too hard in youth sports or in anything. And it's just, they start to make them like, you can't make a mistake. That's just like not the way to live. Like, that's not, I don't know, that's a great way to set your child up for life, is to, make them think they have to be perfect at everything. And my parents weren't like that at all. I think my dad was raised by his father, who was raised very hardcore. And it was, work, high standards, and be the best you could be. And it was and obviously a lot of those traits were passed down to me, and they're great traits. And I wouldn't change it for anything. But I think, it took my dad and maybe his older brother some time, and his younger brother, especially, at least for my dad, when he got older, he started to look back and think, my gosh, why would, sometimes my dad put way too much pressure on me. He meant well, but sometimes it was a little too much, where it became almost like just, like, what, how, you idiot, why would you make that mistake? And, stuff like that. And, I think it took him some time to really realize that. And now he's a lot more, my dad now is a lot more looser. But especially with my younger sister, I was the first child, and my mom and dad now, I think they learned from me, especially that time period with me when I was a teenager, to what we shouldn't do, what we should not do. But they were also, my mom and dad are very honest with themselves. I think that's why they're, to me, they're the greatest parents ever, because they adapt, and they listen, they change, and they've realized maybe sometimes where they made mistakes, maybe where they need to adjust and fix things. And I've seen it now with my sister. She's a lot more freer, a lot more confident at her age now than I was at that age, a lot more. And I'm glad she is. I want her to be much better than me. And I try to help her out a lot in any way I could, but I also let her just be her. Let her figure it out, grow into her own person. She's becoming a young adult. And but I've also, like I was saying, I've seen just a lot of pressure put on guys growing up that I grew up playing with, and they just, when they got in high school and they got older, just, maybe they had some injuries, or they just kind of got burned out from it. That's what happens. You just get burned out. And that's what happened to me last summer. I was doing all these, pushing myself really hard on that bike, riding my bicycle, push, push, push. And I thought that's what you're supposed to do. And there's a healthy balance, though. And I pushed myself too hard. I put way too much into the rides, thinking that was just going to cure my anxiety. Kind of just coping my way by. But I got to the point where I couldn't take it anymore. I was just fed up. I was just tired. And that's happened a couple times in the last 3-4 years. And I just burned myself out. And that's when I realized, okay. Then I had a really bad panic attack in August. And I just said, okay, I need to really dive deeper here. I need to dig deeper. I need to really figure out what's going on here. And ever since then, since August, it's been some setbacks, but also a lot of steps forward. And you're gonna expect setbacks, guys. That's one thing I've learned. It's kind of hard to accept sometimes, but you have to accept it. Is when you start healing, you're not gonna be perfect. We're never gonna be perfect, but you're not gonna be. It's not gonna. It might not be what you want it to be at first. You expect some setbacks, but also you're gonna through those setbacks. You journal, you meditate, you just take a step. Okay, what do I need to do? You readjust, and you keep going forward. And that's just that's part of life, really. It's wins and lessons. I don't believe in losses. That's something I heard somebody say one time. There's no such thing as losses in life. It's wins and lessons, and that's something I live by. And I think that's the correct way to live. To think about that things. You shouldn't ever view yourself as a loser. You never lost. If you tried, you didn't. As long as you give your full effort and you're doing everything you can, you're not. If you don't maybe succeed to where the level you wanted to that day, or whatever you're doing in life, whatever career you're in, or whatever it is. If you didn't get to where you want to at first, that's okay. You learn though. You readjust. You get back in the lab and go to work, and you come back stronger. You come back. Okay, then when you get in that situation again, like, okay, now I got something better today. I feel a lot more confident this time, and that's just part of life. But I also, accept setbacks, and it's okay if you have them. It's okay, and we all go through them. But I think that's why having community, having support, being vulnerable, being open about don't hide things. If I can come up here and talk, anybody watching this right now, if you want to get on a camera or whatever you want to do, makes you more comfortable to share your story, do it. You know what I mean? It's not, just share it. Like, just do it. And again, it took me a while to figure that out. People kept telling me for a long time, like, just share it, get on there. I'm like, yeah. And I wanted to do it, but I put too much pressure on myself again leading up to this podcast. I've thought about this for the past year, and I think at times I watch a lot of podcasts, a lot of great guys like Joe Rogan, Joey Diaz, Kwame Brown, Jason Whitlock. Who else? I watch so many guys that are just great at what they do in this kind of business. And I was focused too much on kind of like production, and I wanted to look good. And I'm going to start learning more how to figure all this stuff out. But I said, you know what, let's just start off by doing it. Kwame Brown, when he came out and did all that and really took off and came out and, started speaking out for himself back in May, he was filming on an iPhone 8. That video got I think his videos, it's a massive number it got when he came out and responded that day. His initial video that really just, and he was doing it before that. He was doing a great message on his channel before that. But I think back in May when all that stuff went down with him, and if you're not aware, maybe go look it up. And he responded and finally set the record straight about his story. That video just took off because I think people just appreciated just how real he was. And that's what I appreciated. I was like, man, I really like this guy. And all I ever heard about Kwame Brown was the narrative that was put on him, that he was just bust, and he was a failure as a player, and he was lazy and all this stuff. And it was all complete junk. When you look back at the story and you see what really went down, what was no wonder why the guy didn't, when he first came to the league, they kind of, his confidence got low because the team he got drafted to didn't really, some of the people, the coach and Michael Jordan at the time didn't even want him on the team. They wanted to trade him for a proven player, which is understandable. They wanted a more a proven, I think it was believed it was Elton Brand at that time, who was a proven all-star. That was supposed to be the deal. And it was going to be Kwame Brown for Elton Brand to the Chicago Bulls. But the ownership, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, ownership stopped that from happening. You guys have to go look it up. I believe that's what happened. And so, they really rode Kwame hard as a rookie. He wasn't playing a lot. He didn't play the minutes he was supposed to, usual rookie plays. He just didn't get that proper development that he should have got. But the guy still played double-digit years. I think he played 12, 13 years, if I'm not mistaken, which is a great career. That's making it to the NBA to begin with. It's like winning a lottery. It's so hard to make it to each level. I mean, it takes a certain degree of work ethic. A lot of these guys have talent, but it takes a certain level degree to sustain a career, to really keep yourself in shape, to study the game, to work out, to just be successful, and really anything in life. If you want to sustain success, anybody I've ever been around that's had a great career in something, they just have an incredible work ethic, but they have a great work ethic, but they also have great habits. They keep themselves where each year they can come back and be successful. And it's kind of similar with anxiety. I mean, uh, like I was saying earlier, I mean, anxiety is just a habit. And I think maybe what I did for a while, and I still do, is maybe it's good to reflect. And it's good to sit back sometimes and just reflect on think in your life. Okay, what are some habits? Maybe start off with 5 things. Write them down. Okay, what are 5 things that maybe I could get rid of? That maybe they make me fearful, feel overstimulated with fear and just worry, and make me feel overwhelmed, or maybe make you feel pressure. What are 5 things? Maybe any habit in any form of your life that you can get rid of. And this is taking me time, guys. It takes time. Sometimes there's not a timeline for healing. Some people heal faster. Some people heal slower than others. There's no right or wrong. I think just doing is the most important thing, and trust. Have a plan. Trust in your plan, and have good people around you. But like I was saying, start with 5 things maybe, and then maybe put an arrow next to them. Okay, how can I replace them? And you be honest with yourself. And like I said, I've done it. Sometimes it's hard, but you have to be honest with yourself. If you want to get somewhere, you have to hold yourself accountable. You have to just really be real with yourself and not worry about what the outside world will think. As long as you have a connection with God, with Christ, that's really all that matters. Because we're all going to die at some point, and when we die, we're either going to heaven or you're going to hell. And that's it's be more worried about where you're going after this life than where you are now. But when you have that kind of mindset, you have the presence of God with you, the peace, the knowing that, okay, yes, I can't predict the future, I can't change whatever, because the future's already written. God's already written the future for you. Whatever your destiny is has already been planned, and He has a great purpose for you, for everybody. And that's something I make sure I try to tell myself every day. All the stuff I went through the last 7 years, God has a great plan for me. This is all for a reason. I'm starting to see it now slowly. And like I said, it's a little weird still. Put myself, that video Saturday was just really hard, but really weird, because I really put myself out there. Felt very vulnerable like that, but it's what's necessary. It's what God needs us to do. It's what we're sent here to do. And I hope everybody believes in God. If you don't, I hope you do one day. Accept Christ as your Lord and Savior if you haven't. But I would say is just always stay true to who you really are. Everybody has a foundation. Everybody started somewhere. Everybody has something they can build off of. Like I said in the video Saturday, God made us all unique in our own way. He created us all individually, so we all have some type of uniqueness about us, and that's your gift to share to this world. And if anybody's ever told you otherwise, don't believe it. Don't ever believe. There's one thing you can always keep with you, is that. Keep that with you. I have something special to bring in this world, and you may not feel it right now. You may not see it right now. And trust me, I've been in those days where I'm kind of I had it earlier this week when my anxiety got really bad. I was just oh my gosh, when's this ever going to end? I just feel stuck. My confidence is so low. Am I ever going to get where I want to go? You have those days, but through those days, it never turns out to be as bad as you think. And like I said, it's always more of the mental movies we create in our head. We have an initial thought in our head of doubt, and we build on that thought. We create movies. We have this mental imagery in our head, and that's something I've learned recently. That's really important, is mental imagery. What are the images you get in your head? What are the movies you play out in your head all day? And this is something a guy who's been probably the most important person outside of my family in the last 7 years is Dennis Simsek, the anxiety guy on YouTube, who's an awesome guy, and I've gotten to text him behind the scenes, talk to him a couple times, and be part of his community he's built of healing people and anxiety warriors, we like to call it. We're warriors. We're more than anxiety, because you are more than anxiety. And learning from him recently was mental imagery, image cycling, and you start to become more aware. Okay, what are these images I'm putting? What do I run through my head all day? What do I focus on? What's my focus on all day? And you start to realize, like, a lot of my focus is on negative things that really just perpetuate my anxiety even more. And and it's hard sometimes, I think, because, like I said earlier, we live in such a rat race society that puts so much pressure on us. We feel like we need and have to do all these things that are so unnecessary, and it's just so unnecessary. Like, it's a lot of the stuff. All you need is pretty basic things to get by, and you can live a happy life. But we feel like now we need all these other things. All this, we're so surrounded by advertisement and just so much pressure put, like, you need to be this, you have to do this, you have to do that. The only way to be successful is one way, and that's just not true. There's so many people that have hit where maybe at one point in their life, maybe not good people, or made poor decisions, maybe hurt other people, and they turn out to be some of the greatest people ever. I mean, it's just part of life. Some of the most successful people I ever met didn't even graduate high school. So what? I mean, I'm not saying don't graduate high school. Obviously, schooling I think is great, but sometimes you have a different direction for you. That's the plan God has for you, and follow that. Why stop that? If you feel like that's what God wants you to go, if maybe when you graduate high school is to go a different direction, maybe not go to college, maybe go do something else, or then do it. Or maybe you're in college right now, and you're kind of ready to move on. You have maybe another desire, another passion elsewhere, another career maybe you want to follow it. Like, don't wait. That's what I said Saturday, like, on my first video, just don't wait ever. Don't put things off, because the longer you put things off, the further away you become from it. And that's something I've learned kind of in a harsh reality sometimes. And it gets painful sometimes when you look back and you think, man, did I pass on that opportunity? And you start to second guess yourself more. But I would say now is build that trust with yourself. Build that trust your intuition, trust your intellect, but allow you're going to find answers in time on this journey. You can't logically heal yourself from anxiety. Yes, you learn, you understand how everything works, you apply, and that's something I've said a lot. I've learned a lot about what anxiety is, how it works, the mind, but I'm starting to learn now. It's just like Saturday. That day just happened. Like, I didn't plan coming up here and doing that video Saturday. It just happened. Something just led me that day. It showed up in time. My intuition Saturday said, and through God really, was get up on this mic right now and tell what you need to, meaning to tell people for the last 7 years. Well, I don't say the last 7 years, because the last couple of years, to share what's happened to me the last 7 years. And, it just happens in time. And like I said, you just have to trust, but you have to start with a basic good foundation, and don't put too much pressure on yourself. Accept setbacks. You're not going to be the best at maybe you start to apply skill sets to help your anxiety. You may not be good at them at first. That's okay. I've been there. But over time, you start to become better. And you have good support. Be honest with the people around you. I think that's very important. That's something I've struggled with for a while, is being honest with the people around me, being open. I always had a hard time expressing myself, but now I don't care. Like, I am who I am, and I am who I am now, and I feel like that because I've finally expressed myself, not only privately but publicly as well. And you start to find out, like I said, hearing all you guys reach out, we're all in this boat together. We all go through the same problems. You're no different. My issue with my anxiety, a lot of people have the same issue, maybe even worse. You know, luckily for me, I have a roof over my head. I have great parents, a great support staff, people who love me and are willing to help me in any way possible and always be there with me. Even in, my bad moments and my good moments, they're still right there with me. And, I would say start there, you know, take it easy on yourself. Don't beat yourself up and just start to identify maybe, okay, and you'll start to identify what are some habits that are perpetuating my anxiety. And then I would also say, what are some things in my past maybe that formed this belief in me. Like I said, for me, it was when I was 11 years old that day I had that panic attack at practice. That was a twofold thing for me. You know, it helped create my anxiety, my health anxiety, but also I was in fear of embarrassment. And it took me a while to look back on that day. I didn't, when that stuff happens when you're a kid, from the ages of 0 to 7, that's where you really pick up a lot of information that help forms you who you become when you get older, and between that age group. And when I look back between ages 0 to 7, there was a lot of things I saw happen to my people I looked up to, or some traumatic times. My family, we had some rough times, and a lot of that affected me when I got older. But when you're in the moment, those times you're a kid, you don't think, oh, this is going to affect me 20 years from now, or 10 years, 5, whatever, how many years from now. But it does. But it's okay though. It's not your fault. But it's when you get to the point now, like where I am, where I can identify these things. Now I can make the change. I can turn the corner, and I can fix things. And I can replace these habits with new ones. And so I would say start there, and keep the pressure low, and just take it day by day. And I've had a lot of people ask me, like, I need to go. I heard some stories about some people the last couple of days that they feel like they have any direction right now. They don't know where to go. I would say that's a great place is to start. Is just being honest with yourself. Just slow down. I think again, part of that rat race of society we live in, everybody's always speeding up. We eat fast. We do everything fast. Slow down and just remember, like I said, take a deep breath, relax, and you're going to be okay. You're going to make it through this. You will get through this. You don't have to be this. Whatever your fear you have, you can get rid of it. You know what I mean? And I would say, one thing I didn't share, I want to share real quick before I get off is, when that happened to me in 2015 after my freshman year of high school, for all the way until the spring, I would say March of 2018, so we're talking almost 3 years, I was kind of just I was going to doctor's appointments all the time for reassurance, going to checkups, I was on medication, I was going to counseling, and that was great. It helped me get to a point, but when I moved and I had that change again in my life that I didn't respond well to because I didn't like change, I kind of went down a deeper hole because I didn't really address the things. I didn't know how to. And I remember one day I just got to a really low point where I was kind of like, didn't know what to do, no direction. I remember sitting in the car with my dad, and I was just like, I need to change. Like, what I'm doing is not working. This isn't working. And I didn't know where it was going to lead me. I just kept my faith in God. I kept praying and, staying in my Bible the best I can. That's something to do better of. Especially my grandmother always tells me that when I talk to her. Stay in your Bible, honey, stay in your Bible. And she's right, stay in your Bible, because she's someone who's gone through a lot in her life as well, but that Bible's kept her through. And that's something I've always seen. And a lot of my mom and dad, my other grandparents, they've all been through a lot of things, but they keep going. They don't stop. And, at that point in 2018, I think it was around March, and I said, okay, I need to change. This isn't working. And one day I just went on YouTube and I typed in anxiety just to see what I would find. And voila, what do you know? I find the anxiety guy. And the first video I watched, I went on my bike on my little ride I was going to, not even like a block or two from my house. That's as far as I would go at that time. And I remember just to hear somebody be where I was at that time. and describe the weird symptoms. Anxiety gives you a lot of weird symptoms, you know, tingling all over, just weird symptoms. That's normal. And just to hear somebody say all this stuff that I've been waiting for somebody else to hear, or excuse me, to say. I mean, I almost fell off my bike in just amazement. I was like, oh my gosh, I finally found somebody that understands what I'm going through. And from there on, it just took off, and it was a slow process, but over time, it led me all the way to where I am now. And now I feel like I'm really turning the corner and becoming who I want to be, who I desire to be. And, you know, I don't have to live that life of anxiety anymore. I don't have to carry this burden with me anymore. I really, truly can be who I want to be. And if it allows me to put myself out here and be vulnerable to you guys, to help other people, but also help myself, it's all worth it, because ultimately that's the life I want to live. I want to be truly happy and at peace, and, you know, not live in fear anymore. We're not meant to live in fear, you know. I think the last thing I leave you guys with is, you know, the word fear. I posted this one time on my Facebook, and my grandmother taught grandmother taught my dad and my two uncles this growing up, and they passed it on to me. It's fear equals F is for false, E is for evidence, A is for appearing, and R is real. False evidence appearing real. And write that down, maybe, and keep that, hang that on the wall somewhere. And that's something that's helped me out a lot. What is fear? False evidence appearing real. It's just illusions. And that's all it is. It's just an illusion. It's a habit. And so that's what I'll leave you guys with today. And like I said, I appreciate all the support. It's been just incredible the last couple of days, kind of just to soak it all in, and just, it's been kind of a whirlwind, and just to see all the people I loved growing up that made it big, you know, or I say ex, but, well, ex-teammates I used to play with, classmates, and just teachers, coaches, my friends, maybe some friends I talked to a while who I still love. Always my friends, and my family. It's just been absolutely unbelievable, and I can't thank you guys enough, and I'm excited for this journey I'm on, and I'm glad you guys be part of it, and I hope you guys share your journey as well. I'd love to be part of your guys' journey. And, you know, if you ever need any help, or if you have any questions for me, like, don't be shy. Like, I used to be really shy a lot, where I wouldn't talk to people, and you know, don't be shy. Like, if you want to message me on Instagram or Facebook, or if you have my number, if you want to talk, I love to talk. I love to get back and hear you guys. I'll keep everything private. If, you know, if it's something you want to ask me about going on in your personal life, no problem at all. Or going to anxiety guy. You know, I messaged Dennis one day, and he messaged me back, and we just started opening dialogue. And you know, there's anybody out there's so many people out here, guys, that will help you. Don't be ashamed. Don't hide it. Don't worry about what the world thinks. Don't worry about putting on this persona for anybody. Just be you. You know what I mean? Wouldn't you rather just be free and be who you want to be than live the life maybe you have been living? That's kind of, I mean, I'm speaking for myself. That's where I was. You know what I mean? That's where I was for a long time. And so, but you have to just, how much more pain can you say, okay, can you take to where you say, okay, that's enough. I can't do this anymore. And so, again, feel free to reach out to me. I mean, if I haven't talked to you in a long time, I don't care. Just reach out to me. I'm an easygoing guy. I like to talk, like I said. I love to hear from you guys. I'd also like to hear you guys, if you could give me feedback, what you'd like to hear me come on and talk about more. Any questions about anxiety or anything else in life, you know, maybe leave in the comments. I apologize, too. I didn't turn the comments on the last video because I didn't really know how. I just hurried up and submitted it real fast because I was so nervous to get it out there. But I'll make sure I can leave the comments on this time. Maybe leave in the comments maybe what you want to see more in these videos. I'd love to hear back from you guys. And, you know, hope everybody enjoys the rest of their day, their week. And it's been always good it'll be good to hear from you guys again. Like I said, I can't say that enough. Just and thank you again for all the love and support. And I'll see you guys later. Peace.